Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, History of the Ancient World. Today we're journeying to the Indian subcontinent, a land of vibrant cultures, sprawling empires, and profound spiritual thought. We're going to unravel the fascinating history of religion in ancient India, a story that has shaped not just a region but the entire world. From mysterious early beliefs to the birth of global faiths, this is a tale of gods, gurus, and the eternal search for meaning. So grab your chai, get comfortable, and let's dive into the spiritual heart of ancient India. Our story begins thousands of years ago, way back in the Indus Valley Civilization, around 3300 BCE. This was one of the world's first great urban societies, with sophisticated cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. While we can't read their script, it's still a mystery. We can piece together their religious life from the artifacts they left behind. Archaeologists have found numerous terracotta figurines of female deities, suggesting that the worship of a mother goddess, a symbol of fertility and life, was central to their beliefs. Imagine these ancient city dwellers surrounded by the fertile plains of the Indus River, looking to a powerful female force for abundance and protection. We also see seals depicting a figure seated in a meditative yoga-like pose, surrounded by animals. Some scholars have nicknamed him Proto-Shiva, suggesting he could be an early form of one of Hinduism's most important gods. There's also evidence of reverence for certain animals, like bulls and sacred trees, particularly the Pipal tree. These elements, the mother goddess, a meditative male god, animal reverence, and sacred trees didn't just disappear when the Indus Valley Civilization declined. They seeped into the cultural soil of India, re-emerging later in fascinating new forms. It's like finding the ancient roots of a giant, sprawling banyan tree. Around 1500 BCE, a new chapter began with the arrival of Indo-Aryan peoples. They were semi-nomadic pastoralists who brought with them their own language, Sanskrit, and their own religious traditions, which were preserved in a collection of sacred texts known as the Vedas. This period is called the Vedic Age, and it laid the foundation for what would eventually become Hinduism. The Vedas are some of the oldest scriptures in the world, primarily composed of hymns, prayers, and philosophical treatises. The oldest of them, the Rigveda, gives us a window into the world of the early Vedic people. Their religion was centered on a pantheon of gods, or devas, who personified natural forces. There was Indra, the powerful king of the gods, and the god of thunder and war, often depicted riding a white elephant. There was Agni, the god of fire, who was a crucial intermediary, carrying sacrifices from humans up to the gods, and Surya, the sun god, who rode his chariot across the sky each day. The core of Vedic practice was the yajna, or the fire sacrifice. Priests, known as Brahmins, would perform elaborate rituals, chanting hymns and making offerings of ghee, grains, and sometimes animals into the sacred fire to please the gods and maintain cosmic order, or artha. This was a religion of action, of ritual, designed to ensure prosperity, long life, and victory in battle. As we move into the later Vedic period, from about 1000 to 600 BCE, we see a significant shift. Society became more settled and agricultural. The simple rituals of the early Vedas grew into incredibly complex and lengthy ceremonies, and the role of the Brahmin priest became even more powerful and indispensable. They were the keepers of the sacred knowledge, the only ones who could perform the rituals correctly. But at the same time, a new kind of spiritual inquiry began to bubble up. Thinkers and mystics started questioning the purely ritualistic approach. They retreated into the forest to meditate and contemplate the deeper mysteries of existence. This period of intense philosophical speculation gave rise to the Upanishads. These texts are a complete game changer. They shift the focus from external rituals to internal realization. The Upanishads introduce some of the most profound and enduring concepts in Indian thought. Concepts like Brahman, the ultimate unchanging reality that underlies the entire universe, and Atman, the individual soul or self. The great insight of the Upanishads is that Atman is Brahman. Your individual soul is not separate from the ultimate reality. It is one and the same. The goal of life, then, is not just to please the gods, but to achieve moksha, or liberation, by realizing this fundamental unity. The Upanishads also solidified the ideas of karma and samsara. Karma is the law of cause and effect, where every action, thought, and word has a consequence that shapes your future. Samsara is the cycle of death and rebirth, where the soul is reincarnated into new bodies based on its past karma. Life becomes a journey through countless lifetimes, and the ultimate goal is to break free from this endless cycle by attaining spiritual wisdom. These ideas, Brahman, Atman, Moksha, Karma, and Samsara, became the bedrock of Indian philosophy and religion for millennia to come. This period of intense spiritual searching, around the 6th century BCE, is sometimes called the Axial Age. It was a time of huge social and religious upheaval across the world, and India was at the heart of it. The old Vedic order was being challenged, and many new schools of thought emerged. Two individuals from this era would go on to found religions that have shaped the lives of billions. Their names were Mahavira and Siddhartha Gautama. Mahavira was a prince who, at the age of 30, renounced all worldly possessions to seek spiritual awakening. After more than 12 years of intense meditation and severe asceticism, he achieved enlightenment and became known as a Jina, or conqueror. His teachings formed the basis of Jainism. The core principle of Jainism is ahimsa, or non-violence, in its most absolute form. Jains believe that every living being, from humans and animals to plants and even microscopic organisms, has a soul and should not be harmed. This commitment leads to a strict vegetarian or vegan diet and practices like sweeping the path before you walk to avoid stepping on insects. Jainism teaches that the path to liberation involves three jewels: right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. Around the same time, another prince named Siddhartha Gautama, living in what is now Nepal, was on a similar quest. Sheltered from suffering for most of his youth, he was shocked when he finally witnessed sickness, old age, and death. He left his palace, his wife, and his newborn son to find an end to suffering. After years of trying extreme asceticism and then deep meditation, he finally achieved enlightenment while sitting under a Bodhi tree. He became the Buddha, the enlightened one. The Buddha's core teaching is captured in the Four Noble Truths. First, life is inherently filled with suffering, or dukkha. Second, the cause of this suffering is craving and attachment. Third, it is possible to end suffering. And fourth, the way to end suffering is by following the Noble Eightfold Path, a practical guide to ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. Like Jainism, Buddhism emphasizes non-violence and compassion. But the Buddha taught a middle way, avoiding the extremes of both self-indulgence and severe self-mortification. He rejected the authority of the Vedas and the caste system, teaching that anyone, regardless of their birth, could achieve enlightenment or nirvana. For several centuries, these new faiths, along with many other philosophical schools, coexisted with the evolving Vedic tradition. Then, a new phase began to take shape, what we now recognize as classical Hinduism. This wasn't a sudden invention, but a gradual synthesis, a grand fusion of Vedic traditions, Upanishadic philosophy, Buddhist and Jain ideas, and countless local and tribal beliefs. It was like a great river, absorbing water from many different streams. The old Vedic gods like Indra and Agni became less prominent, while new deities rose to central importance, forming the Trimurti, Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer and transformer. Devotion, or bhakti, became a major new pathway to the divine. It wasn't just for priests and ascetics anymore. Anyone could express their love for a personal god, like Vishnu in his avatars as Rama or Krishna, or the powerful goddess Devi in her many forms like Durga or Kali. This devotional spirit gave rise to epic poems like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata contains one of the most beloved an influential text in all of Hinduism, the Bhagavad Gita. In this text, the god Krishna teaches the warrior Arjuna about duty, action, and the different paths to spiritual fulfillment, beautifully summarizing the synthesis of knowledge, action, and devotion that defines Hinduism. So there you have it, a journey through the incredible religious landscape of ancient India. We started with the mysterious mother goddess of the Indus Valley, moved through the fire sacrifices of the Vedic age, explored the profound philosophy of the Upanishads, and witnessed the birth of Jainism and Buddhism. Finally, we saw the grand synthesis that created the multifaceted, ever-evolving tradition we know as Hinduism. What's so amazing is that these ancient ideas about karma, non-violence, meditation, and the search for ultimate reality are still incredibly alive and influential today. Not just in India, but all over the world. Thanks so much for joining me on this exploration. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to History of the Ancient World for more deep dives into the stories that shaped us. Let me know in the comments which part of ancient Indian religion you find most fascinating. Until next time, keep exploring.